Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Actually, today, on the occasion of the disappearance day of Srila Bhatisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we will have some discussion on his glorious pastimes. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Itinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We'll be discussing some pastimes from a book that was written about Srila Bhatisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's life. The book was called A Ray of Vishnu. There's actually a very apt reason why the book was called that. His father, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as we all know, was one of the primemost Gaudiya Vaishnava acharyas. And he was a senior magistrate of Puri when he was the deputy magistrate when Srila Bhatisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was born. Around that time, I think there were only 3 Indians in the entire country that were at that level. So you can imagine a very, very responsible post. At the same time, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very deeply concerned about establishing the Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta. His main concern was that the pure teachings of Lord Chaitanya will get usurped by the 13 apasampradayas that were in existence at that time. And he was a very prolific writer. Every night he would spend countless hours writing very deep philosophy. And he was praying to the Lord that, "Oh Lord, please bless me with a ray of Vishnu who will establish this Siddhanta in a very systematic way." And fulfilling his desire, Srila Bhatisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was born. And as we can see later on in his life, Bhatisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur fulfilled the desire of his father. So, on this occasion, there are a few wonderful writings, short writings of Bhatisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj that I think many of you would have seen. They've been widely circulated in WhatsApp and everything. But sometimes it is interesting to read and understand this and spend a few minutes remembering the mood of such a great Acharya. There are about 25 of them. We'll just read them for a few minutes and then we'll talk about a few minutes on each one of them. The first one says, "We are put to test and trial in this world. Only those who attend the kirtana of the devotees can succeed." So we see here, Bhatisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is highlighting the importance of kirtana of the Lord. In this material world, if any one thing is certain, it is going to be that we're all going to be put to different trials and tribulations. Right? Just when we think that everything is okay, everything is nice, and Kala will come and disrupt the entire process. Right? And it is not that devotees, we are wantingly creating problems for ourselves, right? So we all should develop sattvic habits and a sattvic lifestyle, which actually helps us to have stability in our spiritual lives. The hallmark of a sattvic lifestyle is some kind of regularity and a very calm and simple lifestyle. Recently I was hearing about one senior Vaishnava's lecture, and they were mentioning that one of their godbrothers was very particular about not adding too much into their life. It's a very interesting idea. He said whenever there was a desire to buy something, they would wait 1 week to 2 weeks. Like if you get a desire to buy, do we really need it? 2 full weeks they would wait. And many times by the time second week comes, you've forgotten about it. So you don't have to bother, getting it or something. Right? So it's a very interesting philosophy to life. Second one, every spot on earth where discourses on God are held is a place of pilgrimage. Right? Tirti kurvanti tirtha. So, people are always very eager. Oh, we should go on a pilgrimage. We should go to this place. We should go dip in this water. We should visit this deity. Right? I remember one trip to Rameshwaram in South India. There's one big temple there where there are like 108 wells. Has anybody done this? You have done that? You also done? 108 wells? Yeah. So early morning you go. But anyway, thankfully it is South India, so it's a little warm. And the well water is always warmer also, right? It's very, in one sense, pleasant. So you go on every part, but they'll pick a bucket and throw a bucket on you. And you keep going like that 108 times. By the time you're done, you're fully like... Yeah. So we do all these things. But the true benefit you can get out of a pilgrimage, place of pilgrimage, is by listening to the discourses of the devotees in that place. All these are okay, they're good. And especially for people who are not so fixed up in devotional practices, so that it's all a nice thing, some change in their consciousness and all that. But for us devotees, that's the main focus. We see that in our spiritual master's life. when Srila Prabhupada, many times, he would go to Vrindavan. When Srila Bhatisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to organize the Vrindavan Parikrama. And there have been many instances when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would actually stay back and give discourses instead of going on the parikram on many days. And as you can imagine, everybody has come for parikram. They would all go. But Srila Prabhupada used to always stay back and listen to his spiritual master very attentively. And this is something that his spiritual master noticed about him and always appreciated that. He sits attentively and listens to me. Okay? So that is the true purpose of a pilgrimage, a place of pilgrimage. Third one, possession of objects not related to Krishna is our main malady. Malady, what does it mean? Actually, it means disease, literally. So our main disease is possession of objects not related to Krishna. See, sometimes we think, we are in this two-boat mentality. We'll keep one leg in the Krishna consciousness boat and one leg in the material boat. And then you're thinking, I will maneuver myself. I will row myself. Is it possible to keep one feet in one boat, another feet in one boat and keep going? Eventually one wave comes, something will come and one boat will go this way. You have to decide whether one boat, this boat, or it will be in the water. So we have to pick Krishna's boat, the spiritual boat. And we have to let go of the material boat. Actually, when you hear that, it feels like, oh, I have to give up something. I have to let go. The reality is that there is nothing to let go, it's a malady. It's a disease. Who wants to keep a disease? Right? Nobody wants to keep a disease. Everybody wants to get rid of the diseases. So we should get rid of our material things, material ambitions, material hankerings, hankerings for name, fame, glory. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam, va jagadisha kamaye. All these things should be given up. Anything that is not related to Krishna has to be given up. Related to this is that, we are all very clever and our mind is even more cleverer than us. We'll dovetail for Krishna. The dovetailing is so complicated that, it's like where the tail starts, where this thing is, nobody knows. Like, there should be clarity in what is dovetailable and what is not. Next one is a very beautiful line. Let me not desire anything but the highest good for my worst enemies. Right? This concept of friend and enemy is actually a duality of this material world. If we are fixed up in giving the highest good, the spiritual knowledge to everybody, automatically we'll be desiring the highest good for even our worst enemies. Next one. As dalliance with the body in luxury increases, so wanes the spirit of service of the Lord. What does dalliance mean? Indulgence, yes. Or messing around with, or you're playing with, you're involved with. Right? As dalliance with the body in luxury increases, so wanes the spirit of service of the Lord. Actually, in this material world, there is no limit to material comforts and situations and all that. Right? You can justify any level of material opulence and say, oh no, this is necessity kind of a thing. Right? That is why there is a time, place and circumstance. Like, we are all living here in the Western world, in the Bay Area. There is certain cost of living that none of us have a choice, right? We all have to pay 2,500, 3,000 rent. Right? You can't say I'm going to have $500 rent over here in Bay Area. It's very much possible in other parts of the country. So, for a time, place and circumstance, there is certain level of quote unquote luxury that comes. But I think we have to be very careful to keep ourselves with a simple living. Because what happens as soon as we get indulging in these things, so wanes the spirit of service of the Lord. This is especially important for Grihasthas. For Grihasthas, there are so many ways time can be taken away from you if you're not careful. Right? So many different quote unquote social obligations, right? And activities take away the time that we should be spending and engaging in the service, spirit of service of the Lord. Next one is also very, very nice. Those favored by God find their paths set by thorns. Right? So, in that sense, if you're having quote unquote difficult situation, you should assume that you're being favored by the Lord. And you should be thankful for it. Next one, there's no peace or happiness in our worldly life. Circumstances create turmoil and annoyance. So there is no peace or happiness because kala or circumstances, even when we think we get complacent with our situation, they will invariably create turmoil and annoyance. Chant the Maha Mantra loudly and with attachment. This will drive away inertia, worldly evils, and pests. What does inertia mean? Yeah. So when you study physics, right? Inertia. So for an object that is in motion, so let's say the easy one is object that is stationary. When an object is stationary, it wants to remain stationary. So have you seen, right? Even let's say when you're driving your car or you're pushing something, initially you have to push a lot. An object in motion tends to remain in motion. And an object in stationary tends to remain stationary. That's called inertia. So we also have inertia. Inertia for becoming stricter with the practices. Inertia for being more dedicated in our service. Inertia for being strict in our sadhana and all that. And so chanting the Maha Mantra loudly and with attachment will drive away inertia. Next one. Be indifferent to bazaar gossip. Stick firmly to your cherished goals. No lack or impediments of the world will ever stand in your way. Srila Bhatisiddhanta Thakur is warning us that We should stay away from prachalpa, right? Bazaar gossip. Stick firmly to your cherished goals. No lack or impediments of the world will ever stand in your way. Actually, innately, a living entity has a very intense desire to hear and relish different stories of the pastimes of the Lord and His devotees. That is our very innate quality. Because we don't cultivate that quality and immerse that inquisitiveness in understanding about the Lord, we are forced to listen to gossip. Stories of some useless people doing useless things, right? Or it could also be in the guise of, you're talking in devotee circle. Oh, you know what this devotee did? You know what that devotee did? Oh, you know what is happening in this person's life? What is happening in that person's life? Right? If we go away from that, nothing can hold us back. Next. Pay due respects to the extroverts of the world, but do not be appreciative of their manners and conduct. They are to be shaken off from your mind. The people of this world, they're doing big things, something is going on. We give them due respect from a distance. Because ultimately everything has to be given up. Ultimate goal of all our activities is to give up all our activities. So if we have that focus, you will start seeing, the world in a different way. Number 11. A devotee feels the presence of God everywhere, but one averse to the Lord denies His existence anywhere. It's in our hands whether we want to see God everywhere or we want to forget God everywhere. It's in the vision. Just like they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. The presence of the God is in the eye of the beholder. We have the ability to pick what we want. Next one. You cannot appreciate transcendental matters with the reasoning of the world. It is sheer nonsense to decry them with the measuring stick of your intellect. The famous sloka we always keep quoting. Ata Shri Krishna namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyaihi sevonmukehi jihvado swayam eva spurati adaha. So our intellect, we cannot understand the Lord. We cannot appreciate transcendental matters with the reasoning of the world. It is sheer nonsense to decry them with the measuring stick of your intellect. Next one is very simple. To recite the name of Sri Krishna is bhakti. To recite the name, to chant the names, that is bhakti. Next, life is for the glorification of topics on Hari. If that is stopped, then what need is there to carry on life? The glorifications and the topics of Hari. So once Srila Bhatisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was giving a very heavy lecture on detachment from this material world. And he spoke very strongly. And after the lecture was over, later in the day, he was sitting in his room. He was writing something. In those days, they used to have like a little bottle of ink. And they'd have a pen. They used to dip in it and write. You seen that? They would have a pen, this thing. They'll keep dipping this thing. It absorbs some of the ink. And then you write. So he's sitting there like that and writing. there was one go down right next to where Srila Bhatisiddhanta Thakur was, his room was there. And he suddenly noticed one monkey came through the window and started stealing 2 bananas. And he cried out, "Hey, go, shoo." And then he got up very quickly. And as he got up, because he was going very quickly to shoo away the monkey, the desk got shaken up and the ink fell on his, in what he was writing, on his manuscript. And he went and he grabbed the bananas back from the monkey and shooed him away. So one devotee was sitting there and observing this whole incident happening. And then he humbly came in front of Bhatisiddhanta Thakur and asked, "Maharaj, this morning you were giving a whole class about detachment. You spoke so heavily on that. And now for 2 bananas, you disturbed your own writing. And you got up and, and we were all there, but you personally went and, shooed that monkey away. How can we understand this?" Srila Bhatisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, those bananas was meant for Radharani to offer to the Lord, not for this insignificant kitchen. So I wanted to protect what belongs to the Lord. So, when we develop anxiety for Krishna, when we develop anxiety for serving the Lord and for protecting, and engaging in His service, all other things automatically, we will develop that right attitude of serving the Lord. Physical illness with Hari Bhajana is preferred to physical fitness without Hari Bhajana. Right? Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi is part of this world. Invariably, all of us will have to deal with some kind of physical illness of some form at different times in our life. So Hari Bhajana is the one that sanctifies our life. So physical illness with Hari Bhajana is preferred to physical fitness without Hari Bhajana. Next one. Our span of life on earth is short. Our life will be crowned with success if the body wears out with constant discourses on Hari. So nice this reading. If the body wears out with constant discourses on Hari. Sometimes we don't appreciate the beauty of what is given to us. They say, right, when something, you're so close to something, you have it, you don't know the value of it. Only when you lose it, you'll know the value. So, we are constantly given the opportunities to hear the discourses. But if we don't take up every single opportunity, every single Manglarti we get to attend, every single Arti we attend, every single Guru Puja we attend, every single class we attend, is one more step closer to the Lord. Number 17, we are here on earth not to work as artisans for making big buildings with wood and stone, but to work only as messengers for the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Deva. Right? So the ultimate goal of everything that we do is to preach. If in the name of big projects and building big buildings, the essence is lost, or our zeal to preach is lost, then it is a wasted endeavor. A sycophant is neither a guru or a preacher. What does sycophant mean? Huh? Pretend, and also I think, if I remember, huh? His own ideas, that's the kind of thing. A person who is like upstart, we call, right? Who is like, so I thought like this, I think like this, kind of a thing. 19. To transform the adverse desires of the jivas is the supreme duty of the most merciful. To rescue one person from the stronghold of Mahamaya is an act of superb benevolence, far superior to opening innumerable hospitals. We saw that in the life of Srila Prabhupada as well. Many people don't understand this. The common man many times misunderstand. You people are always talking about, chant, dang, sing, dance, and read and all that. People don't have, they're all suffering in this world. Take care of them first. This is like, you are symptomatically treating the symptoms. You are forgetting the root cause disease. Oh, he's got fever. Give him some medicine to reduce fever. How much medicine will you keep giving? How is it going to reduce the fever? Find out where the infection is coming from, why the fever is there. And you cure the infection, automatically the fever will stop. Poverty, suffering, all this in this world is just a reflection of sinful activities and reactions to those sinful activities. Number 20. Unless we are devoted to God, secularism shall not leave us. The people talk so much about being secular and all that. But the true secularism is awakened in somebody who truly is devoted and loves God. You see how Srila Prabhupada had an appreciation for all the different acharyas in different parts of the world, in different religions and sampradayas and all that. He said the main thing is, if you're a Christian, be a Christian. If you're a Muslim, be a Muslim. But learn how to love God. That's the most important thing. Very nice one. Next one. 21. Look within. Amend yourself rather than pry into the frailties of others. What does frailties mean? Shortcomings, right? Faults, mistakes. Look within. Amend yourself rather than pry into the frailties of others. 22. In this world of Maya, averse to the Lord, full of trials and tribulations, only patience, humility, and respect for others are our friends for Hari Bhajana. The 6th Ashtaka verse, right? The only thing that will help us continue our Hari Bhajana is our patience, humility, and respect for others. Trunadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnuna, manina manadina, kirtanya sadahari. 23. The Lord Gaura Sundara puts his devotees in various difficulties and associations to test their patience and strength of mind. Success depends on their good fortune. So nicely saying. Gaura Sundara puts us in his devotees in difficulties and associations to test their patience and strength of the mind. Sometimes we think, see, this devotee association is so disturbing. I'm so much more happier by myself. Right? Many people say this. This is basically showing a level of, how much you're in Maya kind of thing. When you're very deep in Maya, this is a nice thought you'll get. If I don't come to temple, if I don't interact with these people, then there is no fighting. No? Why should I fight? Why should I do all this headache? This person does that, this does, says like this, talks like this, thinks like this. Always is doing this, she's doing this. I'm so much more happier if I'm by myself. He's telling over here, you are put in that situation and association to test your patience and strength of mind. Success depends on the good fortune. Because otherwise, we're not being tested. Everything will remain inside. Ultimately, we have to face our anarthas. They have to go out. We have to be cleansed of our anarthas. Number 24. When faults in others misguide and delude you, have patience, introspect, find faults in yourself. Know that others cannot harm you unless you harm yourself. So beautiful. Huh? I'll read it again. When faults in others misguide and delude you, have patience. Introspect. Find faults in yourself. Know that others cannot harm you unless you harm yourself. Recently, I was preparing on a very famous book to teach our children for the children's retreat. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Stephen Covey's book. It's a very, very famous book that millions of people read and swear by it. The first habit, he writes, is be proactive, don't be reactive. He's actually talking about a very interesting material phenomena, and we can also learn from some of this, and very related to this. And he goes on to write and explains, it sounds very easy, be proactive, don't be reactive and all that. But he gives an example and explains. He says that when somebody is put into a bad, something bad happens, or something unfavorable happens, a reactive person blames, looks at what is causing this problem. Oh, this person did this, that's why I'm not able to get this. Right? Let's say he gives a very simple example. He says, if somebody gets bad marks in a test, a reactive person will say, oh, this teacher didn't teach us properly. There were no notes. Right? We didn't cover this in the syllabus. Which could all be true. I'm not saying that there might be true that actually the teacher didn't teach properly. That the syllabus was not covered. Ultimately, you got bad marks. That is reality. That's not going to go away anywhere. A proactive person says, what can I do about it? Oh, he tries to find opportunities from within myself. It says, okay, maybe I should have read more. I know this syllabus was there. Just because the teacher didn't cover, I should have read. Next time, I'll make sure that I'll cover the entire syllabus. I will go and do this. It's very easy to blame the external world for anything and everything that happens. That's how this world is designed. Very easy to say, oh, this person is like this. Hey, that person might be like that. But you worry about what can you do to change that. Right? When faults in others misguide and delude you, you have patience. You introspect and find faults in yourself. Know that others cannot harm you unless you harm yourself. Actually, the external world can do nothing to you unless you let them harm you. It's in your hands. Last one. I wish that every selfless, tender-hearted person of Gaudiya Math will be prepared to shed 200 gallons of blood for the nourishment of the spiritual corpus of every individual of this world. Srila Bhatisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is imploring us. Every selfless, tender-hearted person, if you really are selfless, if you really feel for others, you should be prepared to shed 200 gallons of blood for nourishing the spiritual consciousness or corpus of every individual of this world. I will end with another interesting pastime in his life. Anybody remembers the name of the temple in Calcutta where his headquarters was? Bagh Bazaar. Actually, Yogapeeth was in Mayapur, right? It's Mayapur, yeah. The Yogapeeth. This happened in the Yogapeeth temple in Mayapur. So in the Yogapeeth temple, there was a cook. He was a very passionate devotee. So invariably, if you're passionate, you would fight with every devotee in the math. It said that he fought with everybody except Bhatisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Somehow he spared him. Right? Eventually he was little elderly. It is said that, in his service itself, he passed away when he was in the mutt itself. And so all the devotees went for the funeral. And they finished the funeral and they came back. The brahmacharis were sitting together and they were talking. Oh, how he was troubling us so much. Everybody started recounting, that day he did this to me, this day he did this to me, this day. While they were talking, as if, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was in his room. He suddenly appeared in the doorway of that room. And he looked intently at everybody and he said, see, he always wore his dhoti so nicely and he was always very clean. He just said that and he went away. If you want to find faults, it's not that this cook was some great devotee who was, this. It's not about that. All of us will have faults. All of us will have problems. All of us. That is why we are here in this material world. If we keep concentrating on the faults of people, we are the ones who are going to harm ourselves and we are the ones who are going to lose that association. See, when you lose that association of that cook also, right? There's nobody there to cook prasadam for you, then you'll understand. Right? We should always appreciate the good in people. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said he always washed his dhoti nicely. He was very clean. Right? Even though Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was known for he was called Simha Guru. It is said that if any Mayavadi was walking on the road and Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was also coming, that person would try to escape, like they'll try to run away. He'll turn left or turn back and go another direction. They were that afraid of him. But when it came to dealing with Vaishnavas, he always had the most respect and appreciation for all devotees. So, on this occasion, let's remember the wonderful pastimes of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and try to inculcate some of these in our own lives. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj ki, Simha Guru ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Bol Premanande.